In Chapter 7, we are going to be exploring the area, surface, and volume of many different polygons. A polygon in itself is a closed figure in a plane that is made up of 3 or more line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. Many examples of polygons that we're going to explore in Chapter 7 are parallelograms, rhombuses, triangles, trapezoids, and kites. The first polygon that we're going to look at is a parallelogram. The area of a parallelogram is the product of its base and its height. And if you remember from our algebra studies, the product of base times height will look like this. It will say area, there's what the A represents, area, B times H, and B and H are 2 variables next to each other, which reminds you that it is a product, which of course means multiplication. So when you are looking at different parallelograms, the first thing you're going to want to do is identify the base and the height. The height is always going to be found next to this 90-degree angle, and parallelograms are made up of triangles on the side, so you'll be able to identify where the triangles are, where the height is, and where the base is. Right here you can see in this parallelogram they're giving you the base here, which is 12, and these sides will both be equal on a parallelogram. If 12 is here and they don't give you that measurement of 12 here, those are equal. The height is 14, and there's your 90-degree angle. This one is very simple and straightforward because our base and our height are whole numbers. So in order to find the area, it is simply base times height. 12 times 14 is 168. Also, we will add in there meters squared. All of the answers to area are going to be whatever the measurement is squared, because we know from our algebra background that m times m is m squared. In this problem, we see that the base is 4 and the height is 8.5. Then we have to be reminded that how do we multiply a whole number times a fraction? Well, we're going to take 4 and make it 4 over 1. We're going to take 8.5 and make that an improper fraction. Multiply 4 times 17. That product is 68. Divided by 2 gives you 34. So your answer is going to be 34 feet squared. Another thing to consider when you're looking at 4 times 8.5 is you could also take 8.5, and instead of converting it to 17 over 2, you could multiply 4 times 8.5. 8.5, of course, is equivalent to 8.5. And then let me take this opportunity to remind you again about multiplying decimals. So when we multiply decimals, we are going to be mindful of the decimal place. We line this up like regular multiplication. 4 times 5 is 20, carrying the 2. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2 is 4. Your answer is going to be 34, but you have the digits 3, 4, and 0, so you have to remember that you have 1 decimal place. You start at the right and move it over, and then your answer is 34. So of course, if you're multiplying with fractions or with decimals, you're going to get the same answer. 4 times 8.5 equals 34 feet squared. Every time you do area, your answer is going to be whatever the measurement is squared, because m times m, like in our last problem, or feet times feet is going to give you feet squared. Let's go back to this one. And to go back to our previous problem, 12 times 14 is 168. Just a reminder to put the meters squared to have a complete answer. Area is always measured in squared measurement units.